Hey guys, Mark here, and this is the brand new iPhone SE. And it's not the most exciting phone for people that are a little obsessed with tech like I am, but it's not hard to see that the SE is the right phone for a lot of people. All right, let's tear open the box. Inside, we've got some documentation showing you how to get started with the phone, as well as a SIM ejector tool and some Apple stickers. But let's put that away and get that plastic screen protector off the SE. Always incredibly satisfying to listen to. We'll just lay that to the side for a second and check out what else is inside the box. As per usual, we've got some wired lightning ear pods, a lightning cable for charging, and a little 5-watt charging brick. Now the SE does support 18-watt fast charging, but you'll have to buy a fast charger for that as it doesn't come in the box. I'll leave a link down in the description down below to where you can find a good one for fairly cheap. The new iPhone SE has a very familiar look. If you've had a 6, a 7, or an 8 in the past, you're going to feel right at home with the design of this phone. It's got the same 4.7-inch LCD display, same Touch ID sensor, same forehead and chin, same pretty much everything. This is essentially the iPhone 8, but with a couple of major differences on the inside. Inside this iPhone 8 looking body is the exact same high-end CPU that's in the iPhone 11 Pro, the A13 Bionic. It's got 1 gig less of RAM, but that's probably not something you're going to notice in everyday use. iOS is pretty efficient with RAM. The A13 Bionic in this phone is a huge deal. Not only are you going to get top-tier performance comparable to, the most high-end flagships on the market right now, but it also means that you'll likely get software updates for a very long time, making this phone relevant for at least 4 to 5 years. In normal everyday use, the display is fine. It's certainly no contender for the best screen on a smartphone, given its slightly higher than 720p display and huge bezels, but color accuracy and brightness is good, and because the screen is only 4.7 inches diagonally, the lack of sharpness isn't all that apparent unless it's really close to your face. Again, because it's so small, it's not the best phone for media watching, and the speakers are identical to the iPhone 8, so they aren't top tier either, but both will get the job done just fine. The new iPhone SE is IP67 water and dust resistant and is also capable of wireless charging through that sleek glass back, which is already full of fingerprints. As you'll notice, the Apple logo has moved from the top down to the center of the device to match the current 11 series phones, and aside from the camera, they match pretty well. Now, let's talk about that rear camera for a minute, because there's been quite a few rumors floating around on whether or not this is the same camera as the iPhone 11, or if it's an iPhone 8 camera, or if it's some weird mashup between the two. According to iFixit, who have already done a teardown of this phone, the camera in the new SE is nearly identical to the camera in the iPhone 8. They're so much alike, in fact, that they put the iPhone SE's camera into the iPhone 8's body and vice versa, and they worked normally. So it's definitely not the iPhone 11 or iPhone XR camera, and it's very likely that all the improvements to this camera come from the A13 Bionic's image processing pipeline. Anyway, here are some photos and videos taken on the SE, and if you want to see a full video and photo comparison comparing the SE to the iPhone 11, let me know in a comment down below. But generally speaking, the SE does a great job. Colors are very natural, and although images aren't quite as sharp in some cases as the iPhone 11, I do have to say that this is easily one of the best rear cameras that you're going to find in a phone in this price range. It shoots 4K video at 60 FPS, and image stabilization seems to work great. The front camera isn't quite as good, as it's only a 7 megapixel camera that shoots 1080p video, and both cameras are missing night mode, which is actually a big deal in low light scenarios. One area I think people are going to be more disappointed in, though, is actually the battery life of this phone. It has an 1800 milliamp hour battery inside, which is excruciatingly tiny compared to most phones made nowadays. However, the A13 Bionic is a very power efficient CPU, and the fact that this phone has a small, low resolution display means that even though the battery is small, you still should be able to get a full day out of this phone if you aren't watching movies or gaming on it all day long. Still, I wish Apple stuffed a bigger battery in here, because as this phone depreciates over time and the battery starts to degrade, battery life will become a problem, I guarantee it. Normally, I'd be pretty annoyed with Apple that they didn't do much design-wise to this phone, but because they didn't, Apple was able to price this phone at $400. This is a brand new iPhone for $400 US, and that's not something that Apple does very often, and I think a lot of people are going to jump on board with this phone at that price. It's really not a bad phone, you guys. Yes, it's an old design. Yes, it's a parts bin phone. Yes, there are phones out there with better displays that cost $400, but there's not a single new phone out there that costs $400 that's going to be able to compete with this phone in terms of speed, performance, and longevity. And I think that's what's going to sell this phone for most people. And if you're the kind of person that wants a fairly cheap, no-frills iOS experience that covers all the bases, the new iPhone SE is for you. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to support my channel. And as always, have a great day.